All right, we are back. And this is a long awaited video for me. I try to at least once a week deal with a very uncomfortable topic. I took an oath to do that because I grew up seeing adults ignore serious problems because they didn't have the courage to deal with something that was uncomfortable. So what would happen, and what does happen, problems fester and evolve because the adults don't have the courage to deal with an uncomfortable subject. And I always said to myself, men don't do that. And I actually saw that men don't do that. Because in my family, for example, whenever I would hear very important subjects come up that everybody had on their mind, that everybody thought about, maybe some of you can relate. For example, as to who is the father of who? Who is this person's real father? Who is that person's real father? Who did you grow up believing was your father, but really wasn't your father? The importance of fathers, subjects like that. Whenever it would come up in my family, it was always the men bringing it up. It's always been the men that wasn't afraid to tackle important issues that made people uncomfortable to talk about. So that is why I don't care what nobody think about what I talk about. That's where I want to go because I understand this world is backwards. And if you want to go in the right direction, go in the opposite direction everybody else going in. Now you see the title, you see the thumbnail. You point me in a direction where there's a narrative permeating throughout some percentage of the black male population where they're celebrating the murder of this lady, Sonya Massey. Because that's what was happening with Tamir Rice, George Floyd, countless black males. You had narratives springing up in the black American female population that was outright mocking his death and saying that we need more killers like the point me in a direction where black men saying we need more cops like this white dude. I'm telling you, black men and black women have different hearts. As a collective, black American men are the most sane demographic on earth right now. I don't care what nobody think about that. That's what I firmly believe. And I'm basing it on the evidence. Black American men are the most sane demographic on this earth. Though, that said, mental illness, I believe, affects us all. Everybody, especially in the United States, is touched by some degree of mental illness because you literally can't escape it. You cannot escape it, but it's all about how you deal with it. When I deal with any type of group, when you're dealing with a very large population, what I do is I look for different narratives that pop up in that population that actually grows legs, meaning it has a substantial or notable percentage of the population co-signing with that. Not only that, but the others who don't partake in it are not fighting against it, not really objecting to it, basically turning a blind eye to it or silently agreeing with it, where they may not be leaving comments, but they're giving a like. They're agreeing with what's being said, and there are very little to no objections to these narratives when they're negative that pop up within the demographic. The bottom line is there's narratives that has developed among Black American women that have not popped up and developed among any percentage or portion of Black American males. This is an example. Now, what do you listen to this, and I will come back briefly.
I hate Black men. This is a popular way to gain a following. Now, I'm just going to be honest. When I started YouTube a few months ago, my husband warned me. He was like, there are so many content creators, so much just garbage out there that is specifically dedicated to people making money off of misandry and especially hate towards Black men. I didn't really want to believe him. I mean, I always knew there was always a few people out there who were crazy.
And understand, Black men don't spew hate against Black women. When Black men start talking about Black women, they're dealing with real issues that need to be dealt with and corrected. Weight issues, attitude, violence, etc.
But I didn't believe it was nearly as popular. Now, fast forward a few months later, I'm biting my tongue, and I'm like, you are very much right. And what I have found is, for whatever reason, it is so popular as a woman, especially as a Black woman, to create content that pretty much, is just hateful towards Black men. I don't know how else to put it. It's just really popular. And I mean, to the point to where I'm seeing new channels pop up that may have 2-3 videos and you're seeing hundreds of thousands of views. And I'm like, how is that possible? And then I go in and I'm like, bing.
So just like she was surprised when she first saw it, several, and I'm talking as well as young, very young Black boys, how you think they react when they see this vile and hateful content that only they have produced against us?
And then I go in and I'm like, oh, bingo. This is one of those I hate Black men channels. It's so creepy. It is so creepy to me. I don't know why. I don't know if it's culture per se, or if it's the algorithm, or if it's both. But there is definitely money to be made right now off of hating Black men. I knew that if I started a channel that was literally dedicated to just that, and just finding every single dusty situation, finding every single Black man who has done the trashiest thing out there, and then just creating videos after videos, man, I'd get so much support, and I probably would get a lot of money too, a lot of female followers, maybe even a few male followers here and there. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I know that's popular right now. I think it's disgusting that it's popular, but it is. And it's sad to me. So I can't say I necessarily understand why, but I would be lying to myself if I was to ignore the fact that right now there is a ton of money to be made off of just that, off of just saying, I hate Black men and here's why. That's a very popular...
This video is 2 years old.
Niche of content. and it is growing a community. And, I just don't. So I guess I can't find myself a part of that crowd.
So this is what I'm talking about. When a narrative pops up and it gains a following, you need to pay attention whenever that happens.
And while I'm not going to sit here and act like black men are perfect, no man is perfect. No woman is perfect. No human beings are perfect. I'm not going to glorify or demonize anybody. People are people. And I know that's going to come with certain consequences. As a black woman, I think there's this silent expectation that I'm supposed to be a part of the sister code. And I'm not a part of any code that I think is going to be perpetuating lies. And I think the just blanket, I hate black men are the problem, ideology is perpetuating lies. And I'm not for that.
And that's it in a nutshell. We get lied on. But when you listen to black male content creators, they're not lying on black women. So it really is crazy when you understand that there was once a content creator whose entire message was based on aborting black boys and, just demonizing black males in general. And this was largely a black female audience, many of which had sons. You know how dysfunctional of a home you're creating right there? Embracing those types of narratives when you yourself are a mother with a son? You can't get any more dysfunctional than that. Can black men, do you think you as a father, let's say you're a single father, you got a daughter, embracing a narrative, let's say calling black women bullet bags after this killing of Sonya Massey, like as if you somehow inspired by it, and now you join the bullet bag cult?
Well, what do you think? Why do you think that's so popular? Is it the algorithm? Is it culture? Is it something else? Let me know what you think.
Now, I don't know if she mentioned she'd go to these channels and there would hardly be any subscribers, but they had like 1 or 2 videos. And the videos have hundreds of thousands of views, which really tells you it's the narrative that's possible. And it tells you they're going through just looking for those types of specific videos. And there are numerous channels like that, videos like that. So y'all gonna have to explain that. That's what a lot of black men looking at. And that's why they are the biggest divesting group in the United States right now, black American males. No matter how you look at it, like it or not, we got facts, statistics, numbers that are not good. That being one of them. Black males date interracial more than any other demographic. They date out more than any other demographic. And add on to that, black women are the least married of all groups. 1 in 4 of them. What does that tell you? Major dysfunction. Now, I want to refer to a content creator by the name of Red Supreme, who I listen to, who I tune into. Red Supreme. He, not long ago, made a video where he referenced to accountable commentary. And he said that accountable commentary is a good content creator, but that sometimes he go a little bit over the top. It's sometimes a little too extreme. Sometimes he goes a little over the top. And I love, respectful disagreements like that, because we always have something that we can debate that we disagree on. And I want to offer respectful disagreement with Mr. Supreme, Mr. Red Supreme. Accountable commentary, his message overall is to avoid all Keishas. Stay away from all of them. And I'm telling you, that is not over the top. That is not extreme. Because you already got black men who are doing it. The only thing different the AC do is actually encourage others. He's verbalizing it. He's verbalizing what many black men live out without verbalizing. That's how we do. We just do. So how could he be over the top when there are so many black men who do exactly that? They don't talk to him, don't even look at him twice. They just keep it moving. Keep it moving. That means his message is extremely what? Real. And look at how receptive black men are to. Another thing I meant to mention. This channel and this other one. These are genuine views. None of his views are artificially accumulated. There's no clickbait. The man hardly even used uppercase letters at the beginning of sentences. He boots every black woman he finds out. He boots them out. Understand, this is very important facts I'm sharing with you. No clickbait whatsoever. Boots all black women out, meaning that reduces the number of black women who listen to him. Because many black women don't want to listen to him if they can't themselves leave a comment in response. They'd be like, oh, what's the point? But some still do listen to him. So most of his listeners is black men. And that makes it a lot more significant. That means these are genuine views. Just yesterday, like I said, he accumulated a large following in an extremely short period of time. I know what I'm talking about. I've seen so many channels grow from nothing. Y'all might know Carcino for Life. I helped start his channel. And this is the fastest growing narrative that's being verbalized. If you ask me, among black males, add that onto 1 in 4 of them getting married and black men having already dated out more than any other group. What do you have? That means black women are doing far worse than all other groups. And you cannot blame the men. We need to look at the women at this point. We've already debunked all the lies when it comes to the men. Now, over the years, we have heard reports of black American women disproportionately suffering from mental illness. Now, I don't know how y'all received it. But over the years, as I've heard these stories, I kind of ignored them. I'm like, yeah, well, big deal. A lot of people have mental health, mental illness. And I just chalked it up as them trying to only put a spotlight on black women. Just as, that's the American thing to do. Put a spotlight on black people's problems and project it as a black thing. So over the years, I've ignored it. I've ignored it. How many of you ignored it? I'm going to say most of you ignored it just like I did. You didn't think nothing of it. You didn't do no research into it, did you? I didn't. Just being honest. I never gave it any thought like that. Already had my opinions. Already had my opinions based on life experiences and stuff like that. But here recently, I've looked into it. Many of you remember I also looked into it years ago, but not this deep. When I made the SBW channel, I shared a lot of research. If you check the comment section to several of those videos, there are several links to sources. But we should have been paying closer attention to mental illness, legit mental illness, because I strongly suspect it runs rampant, more so than any other group with Black American women. And many of you already know that that's the truth, because you already see outwardly certain traits, customs, behaviors that you don't see among any other demographic. And I don't care what nobody say. If you're a black man, you claim you pro-black and you love black women and all this kind of stuff, and you ain't talking about this, all your pro-blackness serves is to get in their panties. That's the only thing you concerned about. You don't love them like you claim to love them, or else it would tear you apart to see them in the condition that they're in today. So I don't want to hear it. I'm more pro-black and pro-black woman than any of you fraudulent fools. Excuse my French.
South LA's Harvard Park neighborhood is physically assaulted by a crazed woman, upset that her burrito order was taking too long. The vendor says the woman became enraged when she was told that she would have to wait.
KTLA's Carlos Saucedo live in downtown LA with more on the attack and the growing number of vendors becoming targets of violence. Carlos.
Micah and Sherry, good evening. We've learned that the suspect seen in that video has been arrested, the victim identifying her to police. Now, tonight I spoke with the victim, who tells me she is still traumatized over the attack. Hey. A vicious attack against a taco stand worker Saturday afternoon on Normandy and Slauson Avenues in South LA caught on camera.
Pero sí les digo que siento así como que...
Stop. This is not something that's uncommon. Many of you heard about the girl recently shot, was it McDonald's employee? How many stories have you heard of them pulling out a gun at a drive-thru because their food wasn't right or something? I just shared that video with y'all yesterday. The lady cussing out the restaurant worker, and it was a kid. It was a kid, mind you. As a matter of fact, let's go back to that. Let's go back to that. Because I want to point something else out about that video. That lady, that demon, and y'all know the demon I'm talking about. If you Black American like I am from the southern, the grassroots, you recognize this demon. Some of the women in your family, when that demon come out, their voices change, don't it? Their eyes get huge, don't it? They start sounding like a monster inside of them, don't they? Have you ever considered the possibility that our women are demonically possessed? That there are demons that run through our women's population? What if it's true? What if what I'm saying is true? Then you would be a fool not to at least look into it. So before people start objecting, let's point out the things that's irrefutable. Y'all recognize this demon. Guys, you're not familiar with this spirit right here?
Waiting on Brad to get judged and I didn't order nothing. That's what I'm talking about. So you try to talk to me like I was stupid. Bitch, I know what I ordered. How about that? On the read it, dumbass. Read the screen. They tell you to read the screen. It ain't no fucking Friday.
Now let me break this down to y'all. She would not have talked to a young Becky like that. You know why her rage started to grow? It's because she was talking to a young black kid. Oh, let's talk about this evil, demonic spirit that permeates through our women. Let's talk about it. That's right. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. I'm not making up nothing. She wouldn't have talked to no little Becky like that. And I'm telling you now, I ain't never heard no men in my family talk like that. None. Be spazzing out like that. And once they get into that zone, they're liable to kill you. Have killed many of you. Many of us. They're like, in those moments, they're liable to stab you. Let's get into it. I got stories. My grandma once went upside the head of her own daughter with a hammer. Then used all kind of blunt objects that were actually deadly. And that's just, man, please. I can't count how many. I remember one time I was in a home. It was my auntie and 3 of my female cousins. And on the other side of the ring was somebody else's auntie, and it was an equal number of girls. Do you know what they did? Start cackling, talking trash, being hateful, and the whole house was fighting. Nothing but rumbling, tumbling, fighting, wigs flying, eyelashes getting plucked out. Me, I was the only man in the room. Can you guess what I did? Can you guess what I did? I gathered up the toddlers and took them into the basement until they stopped fighting. Yes. They had their kids there with them. But when it's time to fight and let that demon out, don't nothing matter. Dude, I've grown up being concerned about some of the women in my family with this rage, these fits of anger. Could it be associated with mental illness? That ain't far-fetched. That ain't far-fetched. That's not a reach at all. Mental illness, people with mental illness, quite often, one of the traits is increased aggression. They're unstable, emotionally unstable. Now, when you talk about demons, I don't think people understand exactly what it is. It's just an energy, a shared energy. Everybody has it. And some energy is an energy of rage and hate. Right? For example, if I beat you a certain way all your life, most likely if you beat your kids, you'd beat them the same way. Let's say you use a switch, a belt. Notice how they're like traditional items used to whoop kids, right? At least here in the United States. You go get your own switch, right? That's an energy. That's a spirit. I call it the switch spirit. You shaking, you scared. You going out, you got to pick your own switch. So you looking around, shaking, already crying, looking for a switch that don't hurt. You grab one. You think, oh, I can take this one. This is not that bad. And then when the adult get it, they show you that it's effective. They start tearing you up. And you didn't think that the switch would work that well. Well, the adult know how to swing it and catch the rhythm. That's a spirit. That's a way of getting whooped. Compare that to how some other people discipline their kids, where there's no physical violence. They tell them to sit down and actually talk to them as if they're an adult and teach them something. Verbalize with them. And there's a good chance you get better results. That's a whole different spirit. You follow? So they're different spirits in different people. And I don't know about y'all, but I've seen, man, I can't even count. Earlier today, I tried to think of all the women I've ever known who just spazzed out and became extremely violent. I couldn't, the list didn't stop. And what does society, how does society respond to it? Keep in mind, they're the ones that's putting it out. They're the ones that's making this information public. They've had several talk shows. You can just do a simple search where they're talking about this exact same thing, mental health issues among black women, how it's more prevalent among black women. Okay, so why are you giving them Sexy Red and Meg the Stallion? They're trying to make the mental illness worse. They're trying to get you to respect family and the traditional family structure even less. That's part of the mental illness.
Well, you hear
and
it all.
These psychologists, I hate to say it like this, these white psych people, they can't help you. Black woman, ain't nothing, because I've noticed this pattern with black women who are talking about it. Mental health issues and mental illness among black women is a very popular subject. They're all across the internet talking about it. And every time I hear them talking about it, they're talking about it as if, oh, you just go to any psychologist and they deal with it in a very vague way. They never truly tackle the things that depresses them.
All the time, know the signs of mental illness or prioritize your mental health.
But how do you know what to look for when mental illness looks so different for everybody?
Now, what if I told you this is especially difficult for black women? Tonight, we take a look at a recent study that shows symptoms of...
See how they put the camera on her? They put the camera on her, and what do you see? What do you see talking about black women and mental health? But yet it never comes up. Not when you're dealing with mainstream. Oh no. She's sitting here with fake eyelashes, literally somebody else's hair, which is something no other group of women do. But yet none of this comes up when they're talking about mental health as it pertains to black women, which means you're not getting no solutions to your problems at all. And you all know it. Here recently, there was a YouTube short that surfaced of this woman in India. And they were talking about how, hair is so magical. It's so magical. And the one thing you don't do, you don't play games with hair, with people's hair. And the last thing you ever want to do is put another human being's hair on top of your head. You don't do that. And these people know. They know better than anybody. Why? That's why they don't do it. And even if they did do it, we all know that it's not the same. So we got our women doing things that other women don't do. She also got way too much makeup. Fake eyelashes, fake eyebrows, that's paint. That's all paint. And a wig. She don't look like that. What you see now, that's not how she look. And we talking about mental illness, insecurities. They never get around to insecurities and inferiority complex. We're going to watch a short video on that too. But let's continue.
Tonight, we take a look at a recent study that shows symptoms of depression may look different for them. Try being a mom of 5 who just completed nursing school and is also running her own business.
The process is kind of long, and it's not just wax and wig and there you go.
No husband nowhere to be found, but a bunch of kids. And all we talking about is her. Yeah, you can't make this up. And I'm not going to spare all of you, because on each show, the only thing they're talking about, they're being real vague, saying, oh, yeah, we get depressed too. We deal with depression too. It's insanity. Now watch this. I watched this last night, and man, listen to this.
And welcome back to another video. Before we start, we'd like to give you a huge thanks for all of the love and support that you've given us. Psych2Go's mission is to make psychology more accessible to everyone, and you help us do that. Now, let's continue. What does it mean when people say you have an inferiority complex? Pop culture and 90s movies may have given you an idea. A good example is Chandler Bing. His humor often stemmed from his insecurities. However, other popular 90s characters such as Edward Norton's character at the beginning of Fight Club embody a false sense of inferiority complex that leads to an unraveling and divergence into different mental conditions. So what actually is an inferiority complex? As defined by the American Psychological Association, an inferiority complex is a feeling of insecurity or inadequacy that stems from an actual or imagined deficiency, whether physical or psychological. These feelings may result in behavioral expressions such as social withdrawal or immobilizing timidity. It can even manifest itself as overcompensation or excessive competition and aggression.
What? This is what's wrong with them. This is what's wrong with them. And I'm just regurgitating what's been said for decades. Hope y'all don't sit and listen to me like I'm revealing some new information. Literally regurgitating old information. But you see, because black men have been saying this, they haven't been listening. Because they view us as stupid, as dumb, right? No matter what we say, they have to be right. So, is it really over the top if some black men be like, look, I'm throwing in the towel? That's not extreme at all. As a matter of fact, it's probably more extreme if you still believe and still date within that demographic.
Expressions such as social withdrawal or immobilizing timidity. It can even manifest itself as overcompensation or excessive competition and aggression. Sometimes in the pursuit of trying to prove yourself and competing with others, an inferiority complex can lead you to develop a superiority complex.
That don't sound familiar? Inferiority complex can lead to a superiority complex, where you're the superwoman. Can't nobody tell you nothing. You right every time, all the time. And if you get upset, you might go upside his head. got to be the loudest, got to be the baddest bee. Huh? Just you be in public, can't help but to make a spectacle out of yourself, being loud, want to embarrass and shame your man. Always got to be above your man. But especially if it's a black man, because here's the thing. Black men are well aware of the fact that most black women, most black American women believe that other men are worthy of the highest respect. And that black men are not worthy of the highest respect. So quite often, instantly, as soon as they're dealing with other men, you don't even recognize them. And they have been verbalizing this. They have been saying this, and we've seen this unfold like nonstop. You don't want narratives like that to become common in a demographic that you want to pull a wife from. Because remember, it's not just those who participate in it. Even those who are not a part of those circles, at least verbalizing it, may co-sign with it. At the very least, they're not objecting to it. If there were some black men talking about, yeah, look at Sonya Massey, bullet bag. I told you she was too welcoming to Brad. That's what you get for allowing Brad all up in your home. Where the black men talking like that? Y'all know full well that's how they've been talking almost after every black male death. They built Black Lives Matter on black men's death and then spat on heterosexual black males. Why don't we see the same narratives coming out of black men? That's what you got to look for. You look to see if the exact same narratives are growing legs among the black male population. It's not. You let some circle of black men come out even remotely celebrating the murder of Sonya Massey. You're going to have all kind of black men on their neck in a way you didn't see black women on Cynthia G's neck, Nyla Sayers' neck, or none of these other. Who was that other divested chick who had a black man hanging from his neck, where they've been celebrating us getting lynched, being shot by cops? Some of the most vicious and vile, hateful, evil narratives have permeated through their population unchecked by any other of them. How you gonna tell black men to pick within that demographic for a wife? That's extreme. That's over the top. When AC talking is not over the top. When I made that SBW channel, I predicted black men would be just like him. And there you see it. And his narratives is growing faster than I've seen any other new narrative. That's what you look for among people. I know how to read people. I know people. You look for different narratives that spring up among them, that grow legs. And you just go through the comment section and you see what I'm talking about. Now let's go back to this video here that I showed a little while ago. What'd I do with that? Oh, get comfortable. Get comfortable. We going right back to it. There it is right there. Now this is the video I just played of the girl with the braids. Now she married to a black man. Shout out to her and they family. At this point, black Americans are doing so bad. I celebrate when I see successful black couples. Shout out to y'all. You got to be stronger today than you were back in the day, right? This is her husband up here. Everybody saw the photos. You got to be stronger today. as a black couple, to not let the BS infiltrate into, your relationship. But as you could expect, the comment section is kind of wild. He said, it wasn't until May 2021 when I found how deep the hatred for black men from black women is. I started asking simple questions and was met with insults almost immediately. So F them. This guy says the scary part is the people spewing this hate could be smiling in your face every day. I have female relatives I don't talk to because they always have something to say about black men. Not only that, many of us as black men who grew up with women in our family, we notice how bad they talk about each other behind each other's backs. I've seen them talk bad about people that would just walk into the kitchen. They would just walk into a different room and they would say something nasty to the other people who were left in the room. I noticed that at a very young age, and I'm like, man, that's foul. And it would be like an insulting comments that spirit right there, that nasty, vile, evil spirit, man. Black men don't want no part of that. That's what they're becoming aware of. He said, yo, if you look at the comment section in those videos, every race comes together to bash black men. This is why I asked the question. This is what it seems like in the eyes of a lot of black men. They view it as, oh, our women are on their side. And you listen to the things that have grown, the narratives that have grown among our women, it's the same narratives that you hear from racists against black people. Mocking our death, mocking the deaths, the killings, cold-blooded murders of black males. That's something only us black males thought would come from non-black people. Wake up, wake up. Here we've now heard it coming from the everyday grassroots black females. There's a sickness and an extreme mental, and this is a mental illness. This hate that they have for their counterpart is a expression of that mental illness that I'm talking about. Oh, yes. Look at this. It says, truly sick. I saw one of the Divestment channels said that Derek Chauvin was a true American hero and that black women should be with someone like him. Okay. Have we seen any black men calling, what was that cop's name who shot Sonya Massey, a hero? Narratives like that wouldn't emerge among black men. Need to look at the difference between you as a collective and your counterpart as a collective. Y'all's women, our mothers, our sisters, they need help. They're in very bad shape and they got too much ego to admit it and ask for help. But if you ask me, black men have been online trying to provide that help to them. They suffer from extreme inferiority complex, and it's been strengthened. Society works to strengthen the problem. Let me ask this. When has the medical field ever genuinely sought to make or help black American women? We got that sick history of them using y'all as test dummies. No anesthetics. And this was the norm. It was, they didn't think nothing of it. Why would they be on your side today? He say, we've been hated. We just know now it's time to go our own way and focus on self and leave them behind. This is the strongest narrative that has grown recently among Black American men. That's what I'm looking at. This is going to make the extinction process faster. It's going to happen faster now, which is crazy. It picks up momentum while you are already at ground zero. Coming into the 2020s, they were already getting married at, a 25% rate. Black men were already dating interracial more than any other group. Before this current, let's say, divestment, but this is a black male divestment. So it's a real divestment. The only divesting here recently, some other black woman got divorced, right? They're not trying to grow old with y'all. He just finessed her out of money. But that divestment thing, that was primarily, let's be honest, that was primarily just them sleeping around, throwing themselves at Brad. Some of them getting pregnant here and there, and that was it. You wasn't getting no marriages out of it. That is proven. There was no marriage coming out this little swirling divestment thing. And that swirling movement started a long time ago. It ain't got no better. But this divestment is real. It's real. And here's the problem that I want black women to look at is, just like we can see that negative energy in you, other women see it. And they realize we don't have that. And then they become anxious to show black men a different experience with a woman. That's what's happening. Those women are listening to us on social media. They clearly see we're not insane. We're not out of our minds. We're acceptable as husbands, as mates. So you're motivating the other women. And black men are being motivated to deal with them other women. This is the worst era in history for black American relationships. We are currently in the worst era for black American relationships. And if you follow some type of influencer or popular, I don't care who it is, Roland, whoever, and they ain't talking about this, then they ain't serious about being an advocate for black Americans. I'm dealing with your very existence. The very foundation of a people's existence is marriage. Maintaining cultural values, the family structure. That's what makes communities. That foundation has been shattered. And now what you have is women with attitudes that are incompatible with that type of structure, with family structure, traditional family values. That was proven beyond a shadow of a doubt with all the confessions on social media. So I'm bringing you the uncomfortable news. This is rock bottom, the worst era in history for black relationships. We did far better immediately after slavery. In no time, 80%, 90% of black women were married at a higher rate than white women. Far better relationships, which might be a reason why we made much better music. All the way up into the 60s. And then you notice, once they had this army of single mothers, who've been indoctrinated with anti-black male propaganda, that is when the most degenerate generations started to emerge. Oh, yes, it is. The birth of Pookie. Pookie was around when black men were in most households, but he wasn't a thing. He wasn't idolized. Pookie wasn't looked up to. There's a huge difference between the black America that the men governed and the black America that the women govern. Can you blame the men for the black America that the women created? So what this should tell you is how important fathers are. That big difference between black America, early 1900s, late 1800s, early 1900s, and the single mother, black America, crystal clear. Families need fathers. For those of you out here dating, say you a black man, you want to date a black woman. You can't get no single woman. You can't get no single mother. You can't do that. You can't do that. No single mothers. So, do you know how many or what percentage of black women you'd have to cancel or cross off your list? Probably the majority of them. Oh, it's bad out here. And what's even crazier is how, after it's proven to be a failed way to raise families, is how loyal they still are to the values of single motherhood. They're still quicker. They still file for the most divorces, file for some 80% of divorces, which tells you they're breaking up from relationships more often as well, because you can still get spousal support even if you're not married. In shambles. What is this? See, a lot of hatred is stemming because black men now have a voice to counterattack the insults and call out the behaviors of certain black women. Prior to that, black women went on talk shows in the 80s and 90s and bashed black men with no real rebuttal. This is why you're starting to see hatred towards the black manosphere and black women who actually gives a damn about black men. Yes, it's a hustle. Okay. So you lived in America your entire life and you didn't know it was popular to this level to hate black. You see, I keep trying to tell y'all, our women are almost exclusively a product of the television. And people just haven't figured that out. They love the Pookies because Pookie is a star. Pookie is a celebrity. When our women see rap videos, what that translates in their mind is Massey putting a stamp of approval on this type of black man. You know, they interpret it as the system putting a stamp of approval on this type of black man. So they glorify the Pookie, put a bunch of jewelry on Pookie, put him in fancy cars, a big home. But when he opened his mouth, he is degenerate as all get up. He celebrates the death of other black men. And y'all let your kids listen to these artists. And I don't respect any mother who don't respect the power of music and lyrics. It's difficult for me to get any of you to sing a chant about blowing your neighbor's brains out. I mean, what would you think about me if I came to you and I say, hey, I just wrote a new song. Oh yeah, what's the name of the song? Blow my mom's brains out. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Blow my mom's brains out. Blow her brains out. Would you sit there like, yeah, blow your mom's brains out, yeah. What does that sound like? A psychopath. But that's what they got us doing. That's what they got Pookie on TV doing. Celebrating the killing of other black people. It's glorified. And y'all don't see the seriousness in protecting your kids from this type of trash. I'm telling you, I've dealt with so many black women, and they don't see the importance of protecting their kids from certain types of music and movies, which are highly influential. Y'all have no idea how carefully crafted music and movies are to shape your mentality and what other type of culture is being offered to Black America. That's the only thing that's glorified. Productive black men are not glorified in this country. They don't put expensive jewelry and put them in Bentleys. You essentially just don't see them at all. So what are we dealing with here? When you look at our women, and again, I don't respect no black man who claim to be all pro-black and this stuff don't bother you about your women. Again, they're dealing with things that other groups are not dealing with. You got the obesity. Clear sign that there could be mental issues, right? Not just the obesity rates. Understand, that's not it. It's also their reluctance to change their diet. It would be different if 80% of them were obese, but yet 80% of them got a gym membership. 80% of them already changed their diets. When you talk to them, they're pretty much telling you, I ain't changing nothing about what I eat. Tell me I'm lying. Don't make me pull up the videos. Too many are available. They talk about them being obese. When they talk about themselves as obese, they're talking about, hey, a man gonna have to accept me just like this. I don't have no plans. You never heard not one of them say that, hey, I'm not gonna date for a year, 2 years, because I gotta take this weight off. No, they don't think like that. They don't think like that. They want to offer a man a whole bunch of fat. Say, take it, because I ain't changing my diet. I ain't exercising no discipline at all. No. How many of them work out? So not only the majority obese, they have no plans on losing that weight. That should set off, that's a red flag. You should be worried about your women, Mr. Pro-Black. Man, I've been getting on these pro-blacks for years. I made a few classic videos about the simp hotep pro-black Negroes. I don't respect you if you're not bothered by the state of your women. Again, I don't bash black women. I'm telling you, and I'm dead serious, I feel too sorry for black women. I'm not going to mock or make fun of people that I truly believe have some issues, have disturbances. And you got to be a sick psychopath yourself to get off on that. No, I'm not like y'all. Let me just go ahead and say it. I'm not like y'all. I'm going to get off on y'all demise. No, I ain't no subhuman like that. No black man is. That's why you not heard these narratives pop up among us that are all vile and evil, celebrating y'all's demise, calling on more cops to shoot you in the face like they did Sonya Massey. Some of the narratives that popped up among black American females has been sick. Too many black men have looked past it. Oh, ain't no big deal. That's the problem. They throwing these temper tantrums and being hateful and evil, and you just ignoring it. You think the best thing to do is just let her have her way. No. We got to get some backbone. First thing you got to do, and the sad thing, other men know this. Y'all need to get your women in check. If y'all gonna stay on this earth, men, you need to get your women in check. That's the first place where you need to establish your leadership. If you can't establish it among your own women, you are going to perish. Y'all think this is some type of game? No, you will be gone. You're going to expedite your extinction. And yeah, your enemies know that. That's why we're in that exact same position. So you got 80% obese. 80% of that or overweight, and 80% of that obese. Bigger on average than any other group of women. The weave wig culture, that's exclusive for our women. And black men don't like it. We've never liked it. Because real beauty for a woman is being herself and showing you what she really looks like. I don't care how good your wig looks on your head. It's not yours, so you get no compliments for it at all. You do not get credit for having beautiful hair. What type of woman who's genuinely beautiful can't even receive that compliment? You're not genuinely beautiful in this state. And they know it. And this is what's contributing to their mental illness. They're trying to ignore it and still participate in this witchcraft. What kind of beautiful woman can't even be credited with having her own hair? If it's not your own hair, you can't be called beautiful. We don't know. And that's just one thing. It's not your hair. It's not your eyelashes. It's not your eyebrows. It's not your skin. These are all been signs, overt, clear signs. Your women need help. They need help. I got family, relatives who's dealt with insecurity issues, depression issues, and seem like they don't know where it's coming from. It's coming from your anti-you culture. Your biggest enemy is yourself. What you saw in the mirror. How can you claim to be a better pick than, the woman who you snatched her whole head of hair from? You can never be on her level, no matter how attractive you is. I don't care if you're a 10 and she a 5. If you had to cover yourself in her entire head full of hair, one, you just disqualified yourself. Two, we need to go get you some therapy. Now, I've been telling people straight up. I tried to receive therapy. I knew they couldn't do nothing for me. Well, I can't say that. Talking always helps. But let's continue with it. You got this weave industry. Like it, no matter what you think of it, it repels men of all races. Black men have been very vocal. Recently, we've had many other men of other races very vocal. They don't like it. I believe what else has been expedited is the repelling of men from black women as mates. Because it's not just black men, also men of other races. Now, this is a very bad one. The reports that have been put out that they lead in HIV and STDs. Over the years, they have really attacked and put out information that they didn't have to about Black American women. And it almost got forgiven, went under the radar. They were putting that information out there to disgrace you. Think about it. Why would anybody want to gather that type of information in the first place? Because if you get somebody who's trying to look into the race of people who have STDs, they're doing it to compare them in hopes that it's not in your favor. So your intentions is bad from the get-go. And what do after they compile this information? They make it public because it's at Black women's image, the expense of your image. What better way to repel men away from you than to tell those men that HIV and STDs permeate most frequently through your population? Have you wished death on them, on those people who put this information out, like you've wished death on Black men? People who have put in some serious work in destroying your image still look at us as the enemy. When we're the only friends you got. We're the only people trying to help you right now. Black men understand too that we all we got. Ain't nobody on our side, not even our women. We didn't figure that out. It's time for y'all to figure that out too. See, people not on y'all side just because they give you food stamps. You think they give you Section 8, they love you or something? Trying to destroy you. So that really hurt their image. Least married, most obese, fakest beauty, the most artificial beauty. Can't even be called beauty. That's an artificial person, a woman. What kind of woman can't even be complimented for being attractive? And if we don't see what you look like, you cannot be called beautiful. Beautiful women don't look like unattractive women in the morning or once they jump into a swimming pool. Of all men on the planet, Black men are respected the least by all groups of women, including our own. We know that. We know that. And that, the awareness of that is growing. There was a video that Tariq showed on one of his live streams of this Caribbean woman with a blonde wig going around doing nasty stuff and interviewing people. She interviewed this old racist white man. And she asked him about the wig that she had on. And what do you think about this wig? And he said something like, Black women need it. They have no choice. Like, they don't have any choice but to wear wigs. What group of men want something like that to be said about their women? And you can't say it about no other groups of men's women. You can say things, insulting things about Black women and about Black men. Like, hey, that's your women. Your women are bald. They have no choice but to, wear wigs. Right? Your women are clearly inferior beings. So that proves your own inferiority, black man. How can black men not be inferior as men if the daughters they produce scared to even show their face when they step outside? Scared to show what they look like. It's certain arguments that can be made that needs to be addressed. I told you what to do. Y'all need to all shave your head, stop dating, period, go celibate, take all that weight off, start all over. When you go get your hair cut, go to a barber, right? Because you got hair like us, and we usually need a barber. Same with you. You ain't Becky. Your hair ain't supposed to be flowing through the wind. You ain't supposed to be swinging and flipping and flapping. See, they look at that as femininity. They look at the entire silhouette of other women. What you need to do is get used to seeing yourself as feminine. The real you. Just from a doctor's standpoint, from a medical standpoint, that's the best option for you. Stop calling black men niggas. Can you do that? Do not address me as nigga. Have more respect for black men. We don't randomly refer to y'all as the B word. That only comes out when we are in a rage. Stop teaching your kids to refer to black men as niggas. Can you do that? Stop teaching your sons to call other black boys niggas. Stop calling your sons niggas. Stop calling your sons niggas in front of your daughters, which is teaching them to call black men niggas. Stop with this anti-black male culture you got popping off in your circles. You have to start to worship black men. That's the best thing black women can do. Worship black men. The very feet, the very ground they walk on. And the last thing y'all need to do is be disrespectful, even slightly, to black men. And strive to do everything that the bulk of them want you to do. That's the only way to stay on this earth. If not, hey, goodbye. Because you're on your way out the door. Black men might have to settle with laying their seed into other groups of women. We'll see how that goes. But it looks like that's where it's headed. Calling us niggas. Your sons, they grow up, then they think it's cool. It make you sound cool to refer to other black men as niggas. A lot of black men like that. They think it make them sound hard. You know what I'm saying? You sound hip. But no, you just sound like a hood rat. When you especially as a grown black man, casually throwing that, you sound like a hood rat. And then you do your research, you find out most of them been raised by like a hood rat. A single mother somewhere in the projects. It's distasteful. It's very distasteful because we're still offended by that word when it comes from other people in a vile way. It's always on site. It just don't make sense. Show each other the same respect you expect other people to show us as black men, because it's really a black man thing when it comes to black America. See, they have to always devalue our existence. We not men, we niggas. No, show some respect. And that's not, it's not a term of endearment. Don't give me that. Because like I said, I've been saying for years, if it was a term of endearment, then they wouldn't use the word when they are in combat. When black men are shooting at each other or throwing punches, the word nigga is thrown around constantly. You don't throw around the word family. You don't call them brother when you trying to kill them. Because why? Because that's a term of endearment. You're throwing nigga around. That's that demon. Where it come from? It came from that slave master demon. Where did it originate from? That slave master that has the brain, the mind of our women in his hand, his right hand man or woman. She got that from the master, from the slave master. You're gonna disgrace yourself using it yourself. You're gonna sound like an idiot hood rat. Show that you learned how to respect yourself. We got enough power over words. We don't even need to use profanity. They want to reinforce black women's mental illness with artists like Meg Thee Stallion, Sexy Red. They want to strengthen the breeder lifestyle that they originated on plantations. They wanted black women to always sleep around, not get married. That was the intention on plantations, was it not? It was in their best interest that you not get married, that you not have a family. Instead, what? Sleep around. Are we talking about the modern era or the plantation? I'm confused. Right? From 18 to 30, what you doing? Sleeping around. Why? Because it's still the plantation, right? Still carrying out the same operation of the plantation. That's why you got to discard everything that comes from a plantation, including the word nigga. I dropped out of high school. I couldn't get along with my mother. So I dropped out of high school. I said, you know what? I'll just get a GED. And I went to Job Corps and got my GED. But while I was at Job Corps, I'd only saw one big fight. And it was between black women. I dated this black woman. And one day she felt like I was ignoring her phone calls. And out of nowhere, she socked me right in the face. I almost swung back, but I caught myself. And that was the first time that I realized that, the fits of rage and violence, it wasn't exclusive to my personal family. And I have lived and I have learned that it is quite prevalent among the population. You know, I'll tell you a big reason why things are getting worse is because nobody is talking about the problems, the real problems. Whatever problems y'all talking about is obviously not the problem. And they have been saying the same things for years, this mindless, empty babble.
It has to be like chemistry in there.
Pouring ingredients into these containers is how Nikayla Jones makes her candles, and she says business is booming.
My favorite will be the pineapple sage.
10 out of 10. But what you don't know, starting this candle business and creating some
Why they both gotta have a hair hat? Why they both gotta have a wig? And why it gotta look like that? If it just cause it's artificial hair, it don't mean that it have to be styled like this. Why does it have to lay like that? Because that's how Becky wears her hair. That's how Ling Ling wears her hair. So you're following who? Who you trying to be a replica of? All those other women. If you can't love yourself, why would we? Why would we feel motivated to truly appreciate you if you can't truly appreciate yourself? Genuinely appreciate yourself. How can you expect men to? No, they're just going to look at you as a sexual experience. And boys are like that. Y'all be getting confused. A lot of men, they'll have sex with they don't care what the race of woman, especially if they're a virgin. They just want to experience sex. And even if after they lose their virginity, many of them want different sexual experiences. And that's the only thing they're after. Remember, this is Aleister Crowley's world. So this is the era where both men and women sleep around freely. So, I think Mr. Samuels was right. The only thing we should count today is marriage, long-term marriages.
10 out of 10. But what you don't know, starting this candle business and creating something that brought her peace and joy helped bring Jones out of postpartum depression.
Excessive crying, distance myself from the
Why would you be depressed? You're financially successful. Business is booming. What you depressed about? Let's hear it.
family, wanting to be alone.
Jones says at first she didn't even realize her symptoms were a form of mental illness.
The lack of sleep, the lack of eating, the lack of concentration.
You ain't missed no meals. Stop lying. You ain't missed no meals. This you. Ain't no lack of eating. And this is the pattern. When you hear them talking about mental illness on all these talk shows, they never deal with the real problems, ever. That's because black men were your first psychologists. Black men was the first one to truly acknowledge the problem, and they tried to fix it in the 70s. It didn't work. So now they're just out here aimlessly saying, oh, mental illness, oh, it helps to talk to somebody. Just listen to all this vague, pointless babble.
Mental illness.
The lack of sleep, the lack of eating, the lack of concentration. My moods up and down, my excessive crying. And I said I have to do something about this because it's making me and my family.
What was making you cry? What was you depressed about? You see how they present it? Like, oh, I was just crying for no reason. Oh, just depressed for no reason. Oh, I just felt bad. Oh, I just lost my appetite. They never get around to what was causing it. I'm telling you, this is the most worthless trash. Every segment, every single episode is like this.
My moods up and down, my excessive crying. And I said I have to do something about this because it's making me and my family very uncomfortable.
Mariah Sumlin, a licensed counselor in Little Rock, says black women in particular should pay closer attention when things don't feel normal.
With depressive symptoms, they can present in all type of ways. You know, high functioning depression is very common amongst...
Oh man, black women, black American women. You will never be more beautiful than those women whose hair you got on your head. With their hair on your head, you'll never be more beautiful than them. They always got you. Y'all, oh my goodness. Y'all not meant to look like other women of the world. I don't understand why that's so hard to accept. And that's coming from a man. I'm from a group who look different from all the other men of the world. But do you think I sit up and look and stare at Brad? You think we sitting up staring at Brad and his hair? Like, hey, you know what? Let me get all of his hair. We don't admire these other people like that. We don't admire these other dudes like that.
With depressive symptoms, they can present in all type of ways. You know, high functioning depression is very common amongst not only African American women, but African American adolescents as well.
A recent New York University study revealed depression may be flying under the radar with Black women. It analyzed data from 227 Black women with children. Researchers screened them for depression as part of a larger study on high blood pressure. What the study found is that Black women reported symptoms of sleep disturbances, self-criticism, and irritability, not typical depression symptoms like feelings of hopelessness or depressed mood.
But on the outside, they're doing everything great.
You see that? Self-criticism and irritability. That's that anger. That's that rage. Boy, some of them, I know y'all know that demon, and that's a demon. That rage, that's wrath.
Not typical depression symptoms like feelings of hopelessness or depressed mood.
But on the outside, they're doing everything great until, you talk to them or they're willing to open up about those experiences.
Isn't it crazy? They're sitting up in these segments showing all the signs of mental illness. The little perm or hair hat, whatever she got, and they're all obese. At least most of them. And they never get around to talking about the problem.
You'll never know.
The study also found that Black women with signs of depression also reported having a low sex drive, feelings of self-hate and self-blame, rather than those more common symptoms.
Boom. Self-hate? Oh, yes.
But what happens when your depression doesn't look like that?
I didn't really know. It was just, I was out of control, but I had no idea I was out of control.
In 2017, Olympia Atkinson, a mother, a teacher, and veteran, was diagnosed with depression and bipolar disorder.
It was untreated, and I didn't know that I even had, the disorder.
Like Joan.
Y'all, I know you know a lot of Black women who got bipolar disorder. Many Black women have told many of you about this mental disorder they have, whether it's bipolar or whatever. But that type of stuff, most of us don't pay much attention to. Right? You're a big girl, get over it. We all got mental issues. But no, they have really been having advanced mental issues. Right? Even the pro-blacks, the Black woman is God, the Black female worshipers don't pay attention to.
Those near and dear to Atkinson also recognized something was different before she even realized it herself.
I'm very lucky and blessed and grateful that, I had my mom who at the time she became my caregiver because I couldn't take care of myself.
Seeking the proper care and having an outlet helped get both women to a better place. For Jones, her candles; for Atkinson, writing.
I wrote jokes. I wrote poetry.
What? What? Notice how this garbage they're talking about, it does not improve their quality of life. Are they supposed to be in a better place now? They're still obese. Huh? All these solutions or alleged solutions, notice how it never improves the quality of their life. If I have a family, if I have daughters, I'm gonna raise them in a way that's going to maximize the chances that they get a husband and that they stay looking good their entire life. I'm going to make sure they're on the healthiest diet and that they only have taste for the healthiest diet that's going to keep them in good shape their entire life, with structure, with discipline. That way, later in life, she's going to benefit from the discipline I instilled in her. And that's how it's supposed to be with all families. Something that our women don't respect. And now look at them. That's the result of not having any respect for discipline and believing that discipline has no place in the home.
A better place. For Jones, her candles. For Atkinson, writing.
I wrote jokes, I wrote poetry, I wrote music, and it's always been something that I could depend on.
Sumlin says another important factor in getting Black women the help they need is increased understanding of the uncommon symptoms they face.
One thing we practice in therapy is being able to actually listen to someone and interpret it in the way that they are saying it, and not in the way that you want to hear them say it. And when you do that, you're able to understand that person's experience uniquely for them.
Because of this, therapists are...
What is she talking about? Ain't nothing but a bunch of babble. But what I want y'all to notice is that any and every time Black women talk about their problems, notice they always sound insane and incoherent when Black men don't govern the conversation. The only time Black women are truthful about the true things, what's really depressing them and causing these issues is the fact that they are so single and rejected by society. Society trains people to look at Black women as the most undesired, and it's actually being manifested in the real world. You're not going to feel confident stepping out the house every day if you're part of that demographic. But only when, for example, they are on Kevin Samuel's show are they actually dealing with the things, the issues that they're having. You're a single mother. You feel very, you don't feel desired. There's a lot of different things going on.
Increased studies specifically focused on Black women to help expand access to care.
If you don't know the signs, then you don't know what to look for. And I told my husband prior to going into, especially the 5th child, watch me. Because if you see something off.
Stop it. You listen, as women, you don't go about finding a man the same way other women do. And when you, no matter how much you try to look like those other women are received as genuinely beautiful. And y'all see that when other men deal with those women. You can see it in the men's eyes. Those are the women that they truly desire. That can be very depressing. And when they look at you and deal with you, you can tell they just want some sex. They just want sex. Where's the proof? 1 in 4 you're married. But you're definitely still having sex. What does that tell you? Most men just view you as someone to have sex with. Do you think that's coincidence? Again, that was the same intention for plantations. Married, you get married. You better go in that bedroom, go make us some money.
And I told my husband prior to going into, especially the 5th child.
Look at all his hair, man. She got strands of hair, like individual strands, like hanging down her face. You can see them all frizzy. That is not you. Simple as that. That is not you. And I would not want, let's continue.
Watch me, because if you see something off, we need to seek help.
It's a message both women are urging others to do, regardless of race or sex, because with help, both are doing much better today.
It was hard for me to get back on track, but like I said, I went into treatment and today I'm doing great.
As for Jones,
yeah, right. You still single, you still obese, but you writing jokes, now everything all right? That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. See, this is all fake nonsense. And again, that's the pattern with each and every one of these little stupid things, little shows they have on black women's mental health. Wasting your time. And this is why black men are fed up. They're fed up. They've thrown in the towel. It's not far-fetched for any black man to throw in the towel. Like, look, I don't want no parts of this demographic. There are too many things that's very popular among this group. At this point, the only people that can change that is black women themselves. It's nobody else's job. Don't blame nobody else for nothing. Y'all need to sort of reform yourselves. I know y'all don't like to hear this being talked about, but y'all need to get involved in like rituals, like spiritual ritual. I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious. Consider the possibility that y'all got some evil spirits inside of you. Black men have it too. I mean, everybody got these demons. Everybody got demons inside of them. It's all about how effective you are at taming it, keeping it out, keeping it at bay, or conquering it. It's always an issue of how receptive you are, how you let demons take control of your body. And I believe black men are the most effective. Like I said, I think black men are the most sane demographic in this country. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to cut on y'all. It's not black women. Y'all wear too many wigs and weaves and fake eyelashes and fake this and fake that. 80% of you overweight and 80% of that is obese. You're always fighting and beating people up and shooting people. Shooting just because they get your food wrong. Your fries are cold. You want to go in there with a hammer and a pickaxe? No. Black men, black boys, they even made mockery of Emmett Till. Y'all remember that was going around on the internet, mocking the death of endless black males. Many of them was kids. You don't see that from black men. You don't see that. Narratives like that don't grow legs among black male population. And our narratives, our circles, you can find them everywhere on the internet. White women, white men, I'm sorry, no. Black men, in my opinion, are more sane than white American men and white American women. Too much craziness going on there. Black men don't have no black supremacist groups, right? Festering on narratives of exterminating white people. No, we don't have these hate groups among us like that. And, a lot of black people like dogs, but let's be honest, man, it's not as prevalent. I believe dogs are actually contributing to the slow population growth of white Americans. Or actually, their numbers is going down at this point. And I believe it's primarily due to dog culture. Dog culture is not affecting black American male population like that, in my opinion. I don't think. There's no way. It's already been proven. They've already did the statistics. What am I talking about? I shared that information a long time ago. There's not nobody from no other country, because everybody from all over countries, they pretty much look at us as savage animals, inferiors, and they got some type of derogatory name for us. We ain't got that for them. Y'all crazy. Everybody crazy. We all crazy. Black man too. We crazy. We crazy too. But look, you can't blame black men for a lot of their craziness. You just can't. Because you had different black men under different households. Black men under the fathers. Don't compare the black men you see today with them. Don't compare the black men that grew up in single parent homes with the ones that grew up in the early 1900s, late 1800s under the fathers. Not happening. We got the proof, we got the evidence on what type of communities we govern. There's nothing y'all can do to stop it. Don't look at these projects and point at black men. We ain't got nothing to do with that. You want to know how black men move and shape? Look at us from 1865 to 1960. That's how we move and shape. So it's up to you. I personally still believe that black men en masse are still willing to marry a black woman. I don't think all hope is lost and that black people are just going to go extinct. I'm serious about this extinction theory of mine. Dead serious. I don't think it's too late because en masse, black women haven't even tried yet. They haven't even tried yet. Not a hashtag, not nothing. Start a be nice and respect black men hashtag. Start that movement and let's see what happens. Let's see what come out of that. Start a I worship black men hashtag. And I'm dead serious. Because through the years, the Brad worship is undeniable. That's right. Let's see if narratives like that can't permeate through their population, you can't say it's extreme to avoid them. What positive narratives have sprung up and permeated throughout the black American female population? Tell me some. Several have popped up among black men. Countless love songs. Black woman is God, goddess. All that came from black men. Right? All that exalting, that all came from black men. No other group of men has simped for their women like black men have. Them other men ain't singing love songs to their women like that. Man, please. Black American men invented love songs. Do you understand me? We invented love songs. Wasn't no group of men singing about love for their woman before black men. We started it and we made it popular. Now it's a permanent part of music. No other group of men simped for their women. And this is what a lot of black men looking at. Like, man, it don't matter how nice we are. No matter how much we try to exalt them. We still get degraded and looked at as less than, less worthy of respect. And that really burned a lot of black men up. Oh, yeah. Well, I won't say burn them up. It just make them be like, I'm done with Keisha. That's where a lot of them are right now. So, listen, man, if you ask me, y'all need to take this serious. We need to take this serious. Society is not going to try to help them. It's not going to try to help nobody. Black males, you better be careful. If you're a productive black man, You got no business getting involved with no ratchet chick. And you better know the signs when you see it. If she referred to you as a nigga, keep moving. That's the first red flag of a Keisha. If she referred to you as a nigga, you shouldn't have nothing to do with it, especially if you know better. But I know a lot of males will put up with stuff like that just to lay up with these women. You better be careful. Find yourself in jail, dead, anything. And that's another thing. They're quicker to call the police on us. They're quicker to pull out a gun and shoot us. And I'm talking about our own women. Quicker to get some pookie to shoot us. There's a special hatred that they have for us that we've never had for them. We grew up in a matriarch. We grew up admiring them and it being a law to respect them. They grew up on this culture of, hate black men, degrade us, we're the worst, we're criminals. Only thing we're good for is to sleep with, just like the plantation. It's not the same. So, if anything is going to change, the women got to change. The women have to change. Don't talk to me about respect. If you respect yourself, men will respect you. I don't care who they are. When we see a respectable woman, we respect those women. I've seen it all my life. I never forget this one joker. We was on a bus. He was cussing like a sailor. This this Muslim chick walked in with a hijab on. He immediately stopped cussing. Not a single cuss word came out and this was a thug-like dude. He stopped cussing. And we started laughing at him. Y'all noticed it. It was because of the presence of that woman. Don't tell me that. Y'all control the respect you get from men. You're primarily the ones who control that. I don't want to hear about, black men need to respect us. I read some comments earlier talking about how black men deserve to be called bullet bags because of how they've been disrespecting black women. No, they haven't. They just haven't. All the criticism that have grown legs among black men have been fair. Fair, to say the least. Y'all just don't like the world looking at you. It's not just black men looking at these issues. The whole world is. Oh no. Yeah, this was not the black America that you see today. I need everybody to understand this. The black America that you see today is not the black America that black fathers produced. That's just the fact. It's a fact. Go ahead and compare them. Compare your typical black neighborhood today with the typical black neighborhood in the early 1900s. Particularly during the Harlem Renaissance when it was doing pretty good. Had a cultural revolution. Don't tell me. Black men, we had class. Our women look like women. Daughters look like daughters. They ain't look like strippers and thoughts. You would never catch black fathers with daughters with their butts hunched up in the camera to take a picture. They would never even turn to the side to show their rump under black fathers. No. Definitely wouldn't turn their backside. This world today is nothing like the world black fathers produced. It's polar opposite. Black fathers had their daughters in dresses. And they were in suits. What y'all talking about? Family was in shape. Father's not going to let the family gorge. See, that's what they got tired of. That's what they tried to run away from. They tried to run away from the discipline because our discipline was being projected as being chauvinistic. And hey, that's that man stuff. You know, it was the feminist era. So they started to look at the discipline that we govern the family with as abuse. We come home, you eating on a bucket of ice cream, and we tell you to stop eating, or we grab it and throw it out. Oh, you're abusive. No, you ain't eating no cookies. It's 12 o'clock in the morning. They got tired of that kind of discipline. Get up off your lazy butt. You've been sitting up all day. You've been asleep. It is 12 o'clock in the afternoon. You still sleep. Get up. They got tired of that. But you know what? It kept you in shape. It kept you looking attractive. I wasn't able to get in shape, take care of myself until I completely separated myself from a female-governed household. Don't play dumb. Many of you didn't even get fat until you shacked up with a woman somewhere. All your discipline started going out the window. Y'all got to put that in check. As men, we supposed to stand on discipline. Your ladies, they like to be lazy. But you got to understand, they're dealing with emotional issues. It's making them lazy. Got a serious lack of motivation because of how they look in comparison to other women of the world. And they refuse to deal with that head on. Have you noticed that? They refuse to deal with their desire to look like other women of the world head on. Instead, they try to pretend like it's not even happening. That's the source of your depression and issues. You don't like to talk about stuff that's uncomfortable. That's the problem. We'll talk about them. And notice how much better you feel. And I'll leave it there.